All right, good morning, guys. I am waking up as usual. I'm not quite awake and I have to get going. That's why my videos I look a little tired. So I want to get this out because it's important to me. So I was talking to somebody in a conversation. I'm not going to get into too much details. And this is a young girl who was about my age when the abortion happened, about my age. So we were talking, and I'm I'm getting focused now on competing, right, for a grant to help women, and I've been praying. I'm like, God, show me how to pull this together. I mean, there is so much need for women. I'm like, okay, I've got my business class where my business is starting to launch, and I can use the same principles for helping women with a nonprofit too, right? Or some kind of product. I'm like, show me where it's needed the most. Help me. So I've been open to God's direction, and I'm just like, all right. So two situations. One, a lady by the pool I was talking to, um, single mom, lots of kids. Luckily, she has like an 18-year-old, and then she has a little baby who's like 6 months old. So, luckily, with her leg injury, she has family that helps her a little bit. I mean, her daughter, she was saying, works and helps her. Okay, but other than that, she doesn't have family. Her needs are tremendous, tremendous. So I was saying, this is where you can go. This is where you can get help for this. Go over to this, uh, you know, pregnancy center. They can help you with diapers. They can help you with this. I mean, her needs are extreme, right? I'm concerned about her. I don't know how she's going to make it. And I'm like, you gotta make the calls. You gotta get on the phone and work it. So that was one situation. Those are the physical needs, right? Um, but sometimes I feel the emotional needs are harder to get. So I was talking to a young girl, and there is a lack of sometimes family support for women. And I really do want to see stronger families for women. So sometimes it's a dad. Sometimes it's a dad that's very distant. So the girl will go to the boyfriend to meet needs, right? Because she doesn't have those needs met with her dad. And so we were having a discussion about, just not feeling good. She wasn't feeling good. Could it be she's pregnant, and what would she do? And so, she's got plans for college. He has plans for college. And I was sharing my abortion, and I was sharing the details of it and what it is. And she's like, that is awful. That is so bad. I'm like, I know, I know. And she's like, I think it's a last resort. And I'm like, well, if you saw a video with what exactly they do to a baby, you would it should be unthinkable. And I said to her, the thing is, they don't tell you about the post-traumatic stress. They don't tell you about that. They don't tell you that, it's suppressed, and then once you have your baby, where I was pregnant with my firstborn, I didn't even look pregnant, and I'm like, what do you mean he's kicking now? What do you mean? Like, I don't even look pregnant. How could he be kicking? So to process that and to get child development under my belt with my firstborn, I said, once you become a mother, it will hit you. It will. And then when I heard the vacuum, I saw the blood in the canister by accident. And, I said, this is the stuff you're going to live with. So I had flashbacks with the vacuum. The suicidal tendencies when you feel the guilt, And I shared my faith that there's hope in God. That is something women need to hear, that it's not like the total unforgivable sin. Jesus does equate hate with murder. He does. He says, if you hate your brother, you are a murderer. So that is how deep the heart level goes. So when we think of women who have had abortions, it doesn't even mean that they have actually hated their child or their mother who brought them to the abortion clinic hated them. They're just very ignorant. But we have people who hate, and they are guilty of murder. So, anyways, as I was talking, there's so many intricacies. We went back. I talked about my high school years, my childhood years, and I'm like, yeah, I remember. I remember there was this I had a friend. I had a very good friend, and we talked about that. Like, I said, oh yeah, we had a trio. We were the Charlie Angels. I was Sabrina. There was Chris. There was the Charlie Angels. We were them. We had like our trio. And then she talked about how, the trio broke up for her. And, I said, same thing. I'm in high school. We're in a bigger high school. I lose my friends. So I'm more dependent on my boyfriend now because we went from a small school where everyone knew everyone. I was popular. Then we get to this big school in Pembroke Academy. You got like 5 other towns coming in or whatever. And I'm like, so friendships were kind of lost. And I remember, I didn't really process this, but I remember my best friend having another friend, and I felt really hurt and left out. And so we were talking about that, like, her friend has gone cold on her, like, what's going on? And she's like, well, the other friend is back in the picture. So there's all these things, guys. I mean, it's never, ever just about pregnancy. It never is. And somebody said that, and it's true. And he goes, we know it's never just about the pregnancy. There are a million things going on. I think the parents, usually the dads, are letting go as their girls are teenagers. They don't know how to deal with them. So there's distance there. She's lost, she has changes in high school. My abortion was, it was, what was it, sophomore year? Yeah. So my first year was really different in high school. I mean, I had guys joking with me that the elevator was down the hall and there was a pool upstairs, and meanwhile all my other friends I felt very distant from, and so I'm busy with my boyfriend. And there's, to be able to identify these, that's not even something you do in high school. You just got a lot coming at you. So, I got a phone call. Hold on, I'm going to decline that. So I had a lot going on in high school, right? I mean, I had a lot going on. And you can't even really, like she was saying, I don't know what's going on with this relationship. I'm just trying to figure it out, right? So we were talking about the condom and how, she's like, oh, the condom only broke once on us. And I'm like, it never broke on us, never, because you just think it's safe. So, by the end of the conversation, I said, everything always works out. And she's like, I know it would work out. There would be a way. But money would be a huge concern for her as a young girl. And having the support, like, what would her parents think? What would his parents think? So as we talked about this was such a gift to me last night, because I'm going to think about this and I'm going to be like, okay, where is the biggest problem? We think it's money, and yes, that is part of it. Part of it's like, where am I going to get the support to do this? And how am I going to do it? And what about them? And, by the end of the conversation, she's like, yeah, it would work out. But, women are afraid. And and I told her I'm going for this grant and everything. And she goes, I think you should personalize it. I think because you've been through it, you're going to be different than the pregnancy centers because you've been through it. So I know a lot of women at the pregnancy centers work there because they've had an abortion. But it can be, I think she has a point. It can be, a lot of girls aren't going to go to a pregnancy center. It can be intimidating. It can be very technical. And I think if we can personalize it, and I had mentioned an app on the phone where girls could find it. I don't know how I would get that app out. I mean, I guess social media would help me. I don't know how you get into schools or get into churches for the resources. But she's like, I think you should personalize it. And that's what stuck with me, to personalize it, because I know what it's like. I know what it's like before when you're scared. I know what it's like after. And she's like, I think the important thing is that people are so judgmental, they don't know what you're going through. And that is very true. They don't understand everything you're feeling or everything that's happening. They don't know, right? So she's like, I think you ought to go with how girls feel. So, how do we look at these fears and say, okay, let's work through this. Let's figure out this is what's going on, and how do we work through this. So she had a good sense of self. I felt like talking to her, um, but a lot of girls don't. They don't have any confidence. They don't have support. We have families who don't offer support. I mean, how do we build families? And so I'm like, okay, you've got your business going so you can build homes so families have stronger relationships, build systems so they have more time to have relationships. That is like part of my cleaning business so that people have more time to meet their goals. So to set up good systems, but then how do we get to girls before they're even ready to be pregnant? How do we, look at their friend group, look at how they process things, look at families. Are they supportive? Are there healthy systems in place for girls? Are the dads around? And if not, why not? Where are the dads for their teen girls? Where are they? So there's just so much there, and again, it's never about the pregnancy. It never is. It's always about the circumstances around it, and what do I do? So trying to find those solutions. If you have thoughts, leave it down below. But I am trying to hone in on how best to reach girls in a million ways, and then families to help them all the way up.